story of a young boy who had no idea about fear. He couldn't understand why people shuddered or shivered. People laughed at him and thought him a fool, but nobody taught him how to shiver. So he left home to learn about the shivers. Long ago, there lived a father in a small town in the western part of England with his two sons. The eldest son was very smart, bright, and cheerful. He was very hard-working and could do everything and was able to do anything except one. He had a fright in dark places and did not want to go to creepy places. The younger son was just opposite to the elder one. He was so dull and dumb-headed that he couldn't do anything, learned nothing. The father was very worried about the future of his younger son. He was very anxious about how he could earn his living. The eldest son used to do all the household work and he could do everything neatly. He was brilliant in studies, but being scared of darkness, he always avoided going to creepy places. One day, the father told the elder son to go to a further place, the path of which was through a graveyard. The elder son was very worried and requested his father, "Oh no, father, I won't go there. It gives me shivers." The younger son didn't know what the shivers were. He tried to put on a thinking cap, but couldn't figure out the meaning of the word shivers. He was not daring enough to ask his superior elder brother about shivers. So he was very curious and wanted badly to experience it. One day, the father said to the younger son, "Listen, boy, you are growing up and getting strong, and it's the time you should start to earn a living. Look at your brother. He's so hard-working, but you can't do anything. How could you get along in life?"
"Oh yes, father. I'd like to earn a living. Don't worry. I must learn how to do work to make both ends meet. But I want to know how to get the shivers. I want to learn how to get the shivers first. That's the thing I don't understand at all."
The eldest son heard his brother. He burst into laughter and said, "You blockhead! You will never understand what the shivers are. You are good for nothing." The father was in a pensive mood. He sighed deeply and said, "Well, it won't do any harm to find out about the shivers, but my son, you won't get a living by shivering." The father discussed his worries about the younger son with his neighbors, but nobody helped him with a solution. Then he thought to discuss with the sexton about this issue. Fortunately, within a few days, the sexton dropped in his house for a chat. The anxious father expressed all his worries about the younger son to sexton. He spilled over everything and said, "Listen, Mr. Sexton, when I asked him what he wanted to do for his livelihood, he knocked me down with a feather. He told me he wanted to learn how to get the shivers." Sexton listened and comprehended the problem and said,
"Don't worry, your son is still immature, and that is why he doesn't understand what shivering is. If that's what he wants, you send him along to me. I'll give him the shivers in no time, which you would never forget, even after death. I'll whip him into shape very well."
The father visualized the idea and agreed to send his son with the sexton, as he knew sexton was a competent person and he would bring out the best of his son. He wanted only his son's progression for a better life. After a short while, the sexton took the boy back to his house and gave him the onus of ringing the church bell, the duty which he used to do until then. He hit upon a plan to scare the boy out of his wits. One night, Sexton woke up at midnight and told him to go up to the church tower and ring the bell. While the boy was pulling on his clothes, the sexton crept up the tower ahead of the boy secretly so that even the boy made no sense of it. The boy reached the belfry, and when he turned around to get hold of the rope with which the bell was tied, he saw a white figure standing there at the top of the stairs. The boy was curious and said,
"Who's that? Hello? Who are you? Answer me!"
Figure didn't respond to answer the question of the boy. He asked again and again, but the figure didn't respond. So the boy lost his temper and shouted,
Are you deaf or dumb? Don't know how to speak? You'd better answer me, or you'll face the consequences. Who are you and what the hell are you doing? You've got no business here in the middle of the night.
The sexton was amused and remained unmoved. He was sure the boy would think he was a ghost and was frightened. The boy shouted again,
I warn you, if you don't answer me, I'll throw you downstairs and you'll face the consequences. I'm again asking who you are and what you want.
Sexton was sure the boy wouldn't throw him downstairs. He kept his lips tight and remained unmoved. Still getting no answer, the boy lost his patience and yelled,
I think you're not going to answer me. Now face the consequences. Okay, you asked for it and here it comes.
He gushed at the figure and shoved him down the stairs. The ghost stumbled all the way down like an empty barrel down the stairs and lay moaning in a heap in the center. Seeing that there was going to be no more trouble from him, the boy rang the bell which he would be told and then went back to bed. The sexton's wife had been waiting all this time in her room. When her husband didn't come back, she started to worry. She went to wake up the boy and asked,
Have you seen my husband? He hasn't returned yet. He went there after you. He climbed the tower of the church before you did. Do you know where is he?
I don't know. I never saw him and nobody was there. There was someone in a white sheet standing near the sound hole, and the obstinate creature wouldn't answer and he refused to go away. So I thought he was up to no good and I shoved him down the stairs. Go and take a look. He's probably still there. I'd be sorry if it was him. He landed with ever such a thump.
The wife was perturbed. She ran out and found her husband groaning with the pain of a broken leg. She managed to carry him home and ran screaming and yelling to the boy's father.
You are full of his son. Do you know what he has done? He threw my husband right from the top of the belfry. The poor man has broken his spine. I shouldn't be surprised. If half of his rest of his bones are in pieces as well, take your dumb and good for nothing bridge out of my house before he brings it down around your ears. I never want to see him again.
The father was horrified. He ran to the sexton's house, shook the boy out of his bed, and yelled,
Hey boy, get up! What the hell are you playing at? You've humiliated the sexton and shoved him from up the tower. Are you a devil in disguise, or the devil must have put you up to it?
But father, I have done nothing. I am innocent. I had no idea it was the sexton. How could I know? I I didn't even see him climbing up the church tower. He was the one who instructed me to ring the bell. When I climbed up the tower, I saw someone deaf was standing there by the sound hole with a white sheet over him. I don't know who it was. I repeatedly asked his name and I warned him 3 times to go away, but he didn't respond.
God in heaven! You bring me nothing but trouble! Get out of my sight, you scoundrel! Just now! I don't even want to look at you anymore!
All right, Father, I'll do as you wish. If that's how you want me to do, I easily remember. You will live your life in full swing.
As morning came, the boy sat up, saying to himself all the time, I wish I could get the shivers. If only I could get the shivers. He was a bee in his bonnet. The boy came to an inn, where he decided to stay the night. As he went into the parlor, the boy said again, if only I could get the shivers. The innkeeper heard what he said and laughed, saying,
You want shivers? What a silly boy you are. He only wants shivers. If that's what he wants, you're in luck. There's a very close chance for you here.
Tell me the name of the person who can give me the shivers. I want to meet him just now, at this very moment.
The boy continued badgering until the innkeeper told him the name.
Listen, boy, there is a haunted castle in this locality where anyone who wants to learn shivers can learn easily and can manage to keep watch there for 3 nights. The king has promised that whoever can do it can marry his daughter. She is as beautiful as an old divinity. I promise you, this princess is the most beautiful girl who ever lived. What's more, there are great heaps of treasure in the castle guarded by evil spirits. You can have the treasure too if you can spend there 3 nights. There's enough wealth beyond the dream of avarice. But I warn you, plenty of young men have tried, but no one has come out of the castle. Everybody has been the dust.
The boy listened to the innkeeper attentively and was excited that finally he was going to have shivers. Next morning, the boy went to the king and said,
My lord, I have heard about your promise, and if you allow me, I'll stay in the haunted castle for 3 nights. I want to experience shivering.
The king watched him and liked the look of him and gave him the permission to accomplish his mission and said,
Listen, boy, I'll let you take 3 things into the castle with you. But they must be things that are not alive. You decide what are the 3 things you would choose to take with you. And remember, you must bring these things into the castle in daylight.
Well, in that case, I'd like to bring things to make a fire with to protect myself from the cold, a lathe, and a wood carver's bench with a knife.
The boy brought 3 things into the castle. The sky was filled with dark cloud and it was lightning.
When night fell, the boy went to the castle. Entered inside. He lit a bright fire in one of the rooms. Then he dragged the woodcarver's bench and kept the knife beside it and sat down at the lathe. The boy was thinking only about the shivers and when he could experience it. When it was about nearly midnight, he stirred the fire. It was chilled cold outside. He was just blowing on it when he heard voices from a corner room.
Meow, meow, meow. We are so cold.
What are you yelling about? If you're cold, come and sit down by the fire and warm yourselves up.
Ah, it's very warm here. Let's play the game of cards. Will you play it? It would be fun.
Why not? Would be a very nice time pass. Let me see your claws first.
The two cats stretched
Oh
out
my
their
God!
paws.
What long nails you've got! And they're so deadly. Oh my God! I'll have to trim them before we start to play, or you won't be able to hold the cards.
The boy seized the two cats by their necks, lifted them up to the woodcraver's bench, and tightened their
I don't
vise
like the look of
around
these
their
long
paws.
nails at all. How could you bear it? They put me right off the idea of playing cards.
And he struck them off both dead and threw them into the moat. He had just sat back down again when from every corner of the room there came black cats and black dogs, wearing red hot collar with a red hot chain. They piled in from every corner of the room, from all directions until he couldn't move. They howled, they barked, they shrieked horribly. They jumped in the fire and scattered the burning logs in all directions. The boy watched the incident curiously for a minute or two, but finally he lost his patience. Seizing his knife, he cried,
Right here, you scoundrels!
Gil and others ran away. When all the creatures had fled, he threw the dead ones into the moat and came back inside the room to warm up. In the morning, the king came in to know if the boy was dead or alive. He saw him lying and said,
"Oh, what a pity! The ghost must have killed the boy."
No, Your Majesty, they haven't killed me yet. I'm fit and fine.
"Oh, you are alive. I'm happy to see you alive. But you have to spend 2 more nights here. Be careful."
The second night, the boy went up to the castle again, lit up the fire, and sat down again. As midnight approached, he heard a commotion from up the chimney, and half a dozen dead men fell down the chimney, one after the other. Suddenly they started to dance. The boy enjoyed the dance, and then the dead men set them up to play skittles with their thigh bones and skulls. The boy was curious to play with them. The dead men asked the boy if he had any money.
No. I have plenty of them. But you appear a little odd to me. Your bowling balls aren't round enough.
Took the skulls, put them on the lathe, and turned them till they were round.
That's better. Now they will roll properly. It'll be fun.
He played with the dead men for a while and lost some of his money. Finally, at midnight, the clock struck 12 and they all vanished. Every one of them. The boy lay down peacefully and went to sleep. Next morning, the king came in again to see how he had gone on.
A few dead men came last night. I had a game of skittles with them. Very fun. But unfortunately, I lost some money.
Did you get the shivers?
Not a slight bit of it. I enjoyed the game, and that was it. I wish I could get the shivers.
On the third night, he sat down again on his bench by the fire and sighed. He was thinking only one night was left. He longed for earnestly to experience the shivers in the last night. Suddenly, in his utter surprise, an old man with terrifying looks stepped out of the darkness in the corner of the room.
You poor miserable worm! How dare you! You have entered the castle in the middle of the night. You shall soon find out and experience what the shivers are. Tonight, you are going to die.
You think so? You'll have to catch me first before you can kill me. How can you run faster than me, you old buccaneer?
You won't get away from me, no matter how fast you run.
Are you an Olympic champion sprinter? I can easily beat you. I'm just as strong as you are. I'm just probably stronger. Ha 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 ha.
We'll see about that. If you turn out to be stronger than me, I'll let you go. But I'm sure you won't. Now come along this way.
The old man led the boy through the castle, along dark corridors and down dark sideways, till they came to a smithy deep in the bowels of the earth.
You spooky fellow! Now let's see who's stronger.
He took an axe and with one blow drove an anvil into the ground.
I can definitely do better than that, you old fellow. I challenge you.
The boy took the axe and struck the other anvil in such a way that it split wide open for a moment. And at that very moment the boy seized the old man's beard and wedged it in the anvil. The anvil closed up, and there was the old man caught.
I've got you. Now you can't run away from me. Now you'll see who's going to die.
Now the boy took an iron bar and beat the old man mercilessly, raining blows on him till he whimpered and moaned and cried.
All All right, stop. You are mightier than me. Even you are more intelligent.
The boy twisted the axe in the crack and released his beard. The old man led him in a cellar deep under the castle and showed him 3 chests full of gold. And the old man said to the boy,
One of these chests is for the poor, one is for the king, and the third is yours. You take these and share with the others.
At that moment, midnight struck and the old man disappeared, leaving the boy in the dark.
That's wonderful. The old fellow wasn't as bad as I thought he would be. Well, so much for it. Now I have to find my way back.
Cropping along the walls, he made his way back to the bedroom and fell asleep by the fire. In the morning, the king came in and said,
I am really dread to think how you had survived in the final night. You must have learned how to shiver by now, I guess.
Your Majesty, no, not a bit of it. Though the previous night was eventful, it didn't give me the shivers. An odd-looking old man came, and he wanted to kill me, but he was unsuccessful. I had beaten him, and he had bestowed me 3 chests full of gold. That was it. I wonder what they can be, these shivers. No one showed me how to get shivers.
They brought 3 chests full of gold up and shared it out. After a few days, he arranged a gorgeous ceremony for his daughter's marriage. The boy loved his wife very much and they lived happily. In due course, the boy became the king of the kingdom.
but he could never forget that he hadn't experienced shivers. Every now and then, the young king kept on saying if he could get the shivers. One day, the young king said his wish to the wife. The queen pondered the issue at length and found no solution. Finally, she shared it with the chambermaid, who assured her that she must do the needful. A maid went down to the brook and caught a bucketful of minnows. That night, when the young king was sleeping, the maid told the queen to pull the covers off and pour the bucket on him. The young king first felt the cold water and the little fish wriggling and flipping all over him.
You're making me shiver. I'm shivering. Bless you, dear wife. You did what no one else could. I'm shivering at last. Yes, yes. Bless you, dear wife. I'm shivering. Yes.
Finally, the boy found out what the shivers were.